We all face giants in our lives. For some of us, it is a massive mountain of financial debt. For others, it is a terrifying medical diagnosis, a toxic relationship, or a dream that feels completely shattered. When you stand in the shadow of these massive problems, it is easy to feel small, unqualified, and entirely powerless. But what if the very thing that makes you feel unqualified is exactly the weapon you need to win? Welcome to Biblical Bios, where we uncover the powerful, motivational stories of the everyday people who changed history. Today, we are looking at the ultimate underdog story, David versus Goliath. You have probably heard the childhood version of this story, a little shepherd boy with a toy slingshot getting lucky. But the real story is so much deeper, and the lessons within it hold the exact blueprint for overcoming the massive, intimidating obstacles in your own life. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to leverage your unique, hidden strengths to defeat the giants standing in your way, even when everyone else expects you to fail. The story begins in the valley of Elah. On one side, the formidable Philistine army, on the other, the army of Israel, led by King Saul. For 40 days, a massive champion named Goliath stepped out onto the battlefield. He was over 9 feet tall, covered in heavy bronze armor, carrying a spear the size of a weaver's beam. Every single morning and every single evening, Goliath would shout across the valley, mocking the Israelites and challenging them to send just one man to fight him. And how did the soldiers react? They were paralyzed. The scriptures say they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Think about the giants in your life right now. How long have they been standing in the valley of your mind, shouting at you, reminding you of your failures, telling you that you aren't smart enough, rich enough, or connected enough to succeed? Giants rely on intimidation. They win the battle in your mind long before you ever step onto the battlefield. The Israelites were defeated not by Goliath's spear, but by his words. They focused on the size of their problem instead of the size of their potential. Miles away from the front lines, a young boy named David was doing the most unglamorous job imaginable, watching his father's sheep. David wasn't a soldier. He wasn't invited to the battle. In fact, when he finally did show up to the camp, it was just to deliver some roasted grain and cheese to his older brothers. He was the ultimate outsider. But here is the motivational truth about the underdog. Your obscurity is often your greatest preparation. When David heard Goliath taunting the army, something shifted inside him. While everyone else saw an unbeatable monster, David saw a target that was too big to miss. When King Saul told David he was just a boy and couldn't possibly fight, David revealed his secret. Out in the lonely wilderness, when no one was watching, David had fought off a lion and a bear to protect his sheep. The mundane, difficult, and lonely seasons of your life are not a waste. They are your training ground, that frustrating entry-level job, those late nights studying, the countless rejections, those are your lions and your bears. They are building your resilience, your skills, and your faith for the moment you finally step up to your giant. Because David volunteered to fight, King Saul tried to help him the only way he knew how. He took his own royal armor, a heavy bronze helmet, and a coat of mail, and strapped it onto David. But there was a massive problem. The armor was too heavy. David couldn't even walk. David looked at the king and said, "I cannot go in these, for I have not tested them." So he took them off. This is one of the most crucial lessons for any underdog. When you face a massive challenge, society, friends, and family will try to give you their armor. They will tell you to follow the traditional path, to act a certain way, to use their strategies, but you cannot win your battles trying to be someone else. You have to strip away the expectations of others and fight with the unique tools and talents you have actually tested. Authenticity is your greatest weapon. David stepped onto the battlefield not as a makeshift soldier, but as a master shepherd. David walked down to the brook and selected 5 smooth stones, putting them into his shepherd's pouch. He took his sling in his hand and approached the giant. When Goliath saw David, he was insulted. He cursed David, expecting a sword fight with a seasoned warrior. But Goliath made a fatal miscalculation. He expected a traditional battle of heavy infantry. David was playing by completely different rules. In ancient times, a slinger was incredibly lethal. A lead or stone projectile fired from a sling by an expert could travel at over 100 miles per hour, packing the stopping power of a modern handgun. David wasn't bringing a toy to a sword fight, he was bringing devastating projectile artillery to a close combat brawl. Goliath was weighed down by hundreds of pounds of armor, making him slow and restricted. David was light, fast, and agile. As an underdog, your lack of resources is not a disadvantage. It is your greatest asset. It makes you nimble. It forces you to be innovative. While the giants of your industry or the massive obstacles in your life are slow and rigid, you can pivot, adapt, and strike from a distance. As Goliath moved in to attack, David didn't freeze. The scriptures say he ran quickly toward the battle line. He reached into his pouch, loaded his sling, and fired. The smooth stone sank perfectly into the one vulnerable spot on Goliath's body, his exposed forehead. The 9-foot giant, the champion of the Philistines, the terror of Israel, crashed face first into the dirt. The battle was over in seconds. One stone, one moment of courage. One ordinary person using exactly what they had, trusting in their faith, and refusing to back down. Whatever giant you are facing today, know this: it is not invincible. The obstacle in front of you might be huge, but it is deeply vulnerable to the unique gifts, the quiet preparation, and the unshakable faith you have been building in the background. Don't let the noise of the valley intimidate you. Pick up your stones, reject the armor that doesn't fit, and run toward your challenge. If this story inspired you to face your giants today, please hit that like button and subscribe to Biblical Bios for more motivational stories of history's greatest underdogs. I want to hear from you. What giant are you facing right now that you need the courage to confront? Let me know in the comments below, and let's support each other. Also, don't forget to check the description below for our $5 Underdog devotional and study guide to help you conquer your challenges every single day. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you don't need to be the biggest or the strongest to win. You just need to step onto the battlefield. Stay strong. Keep the faith, and I'll see you in the next video where we break down how Gideon won an impossible battle completely outnumbered.